Energized show, up the Irish.
Okay, what's going on, guys? And welcome to a brand new episode of Energized, brought to you by Forged Irish Stout. Someone was definitely...
Are you intoxicated or something?
Ross, where's the glasses, man? Where's the glasses? I'm calling you out. First ever show, man. Disgrace.
Man, I was recording the podcast in a different venue, and I left them there instead. So that's on me. Apologies, I don't have my famous Ireland glasses on. I have my famous in-person interview glasses on. So look, I have some form of glasses on.
Show, man. It's the
you know what?
Show and you balled it, man.
I've dropped the ball. Fumbled the bag, as the kids say these days.
Unbelievable!
But sure, look, the show goes on. The show must go on.
The show must go on, man. We couldn't have you without the glasses. So I had to drive all the way over and give Ross them glasses as well. What a good co-host.
Man, I think I'm the co-host. You're the host.
Oh man, welcome back to the show, Ross. We're after doing some great shows in the build-up to this finale, Ross.
Yeah, the Ultimate Four this season had a lot of ups and downs. We weren't too sure how it was going to go, and it looked like there was going to be a clean sweep at one stage. But look, I think it was a good season. I thought the caliber of fights were good, and I feel like we're in for a real treat with the finales.
We are, and both finales on this weekend's UFC 292 card in Boston, which is great to say, which is great because we were talking about where will the finales be on. I thought it was going to be on the Apex. You made some absolute spoof that the TUF finales are never on the Apex, but I think the last two, if not three finales, have been in the Apex, Rock. So on a pay-per-view card, this is a big deal for the boys.
Yeah, they're going to be on the ESPN prelims. Obviously, it's Brad Katona versus Cody Gibson, and then you have Austin Hubbard versus Kurt Holliba. So, yeah, like two great fights, two fights I'm definitely interested in, and I think UFC 292 has got some great additions to it. I know we sort of said beforehand a few times that it was supposed to be UFC 292, but then when the last episode airs the week of UFC 292, I was like, oh, maybe it won't be. But lo and behold, they are at UFC 292. Yeah. Not a lot of time for promotion for the two lads to promote their fight, but here we are here. I suppose maybe you could argue that they had the Ultimate Fighter and they have had 10 weeks of promotion for their fight. So here we are now, and I'm buzzing for it. Braz, what was your first take on the season itself, and then what about the season finale?
I thought the season was good. I thought it was very mature. Over the last few years, there's been less messing around, less messing of the cars. Like, imagine they robbed the wheels off Conor's Lamborghini. That would have been interesting. Or else with the fire extinguishers. I'm just looking back at all the old seasons. You know, I mean, I'm a tough,
tough fanatic.
That's all I watch. I only watch UFC for tough. But I don't know. It's just there's been some crazy things going down in them houses over the last few years. But it was quite mature. Like, I think because the vets are in the house, they know exactly what's on the line. Whereas maybe before and different seasons, it'd be just people trying to get in. So maybe they mess around a bit. But the likes of your Brad Katonas, your Kurt Hollibas, like Jason Knights, they know what's on the line, and it was all business, baby.
Yeah, it really was all business. There was very little to no messing. I just don't think the messing is really as tolerated as it used to be. I think that jock mentality's gone out the window a little bit, and they're all very much professional athletes, and that's how they carry themselves. Obviously, one of the big talking points of this week's episodes was we had some very contradictory dinners. We had crawfish in a big cylinder, or whatever you want to call it, being cooked outside, and then we had McGregor bring his team out for some of the finest steak dinners. Baz, which team would you rather been on for the finale dinner?
Do you know what? I'm a big seafood fan, so like Do you know, that's actually really tough. But like getting it served to you at a table, I think I would have enjoyed that more maybe. Although
Yeah,
I
if you
like
get
the
$1,000
camaraderie.
in chips as well, though.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Oh no, I like the camaraderie in both of them. The way the house has gone full circle, and everyone got to sort of hang out with each other and realize they've been on a crazy journey together.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When I actually saw them eating the crawfish, I was like, that looks less enjoyable than I thought it would. The way they were like, oh, you break the legs and then they suck the head off it, and I was
Well,
like,
that's the way
yeah,
you eat
well, I know, yeah, but I wasn't expecting that. I don't know
What did
why
you
why it
think?
was, but like I thought it was sort of more lobstery or something.
Yeah,
Than,
but you take it out from the shell.
yeah, but I wasn't expecting like to have to do that for each one. I was like, oh, that's just like after you eat about 5 of them, you'd be like, oh, it's just like a pain in the hole.
No,
As opposed
you'd be
to-
going. You'd have way more than 5. Like those.
no, but I'm saying after 5, you get like. But I'm like, oh, it's such effort. It's like pistachio nuts, you know, when they crack
It
it
is.
out.
Like, yeah, it is. Like,
Yeah, it's just like, oh, here, like, no thanks.
You could have just
Uh,
asked. You could have just asked Chandler to open them all for you. You know, I mean, you are Ross from the Energized show.
That is true. That is
Brought
true.
to you by
But
4-star still. Available in Asda, by the way.
yeah, if you don't know, ask Oban Elia. Yeah, and then look, I suppose steak dinner, like McGregor's steak was like on fire as he was eating it. I've never seen that
Yeah.
before.
was
Looked
ho-
pretty sexy. Not gonna
Yeah, I
lie.
was hoping you noticed that as well, because when I saw all the steaks, I was like, that one's on fire.
Yeah. I was, like I saw some of them and like I was like, oh, the one on fire looks definitely cooler. Even though like I'd take any of those steaks, they all looked absolutely delicious. And
How much do you think that the blazing steak was?
I'd say at least $120. I'd say.
I'd say more than that.
Well, who knows? Like I don't know how big it was. It was just more. I could see it was on fire. But yeah. Also, like it looks like a very fancy I don't know, hotel, casino, whichever it was. But anyway, the Fertitta's own it, so like you know, it's only the best of the best.
I'd love to experience something like that just for the crack. Whereas like Conor does it like breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah, it's like constant gourmet food.
Yeah, it's just Jesus Christ. But another thing, right? This is off tough topic. Oh, slightly got to do with it. John Kavanagh, right? Don't know if you saw this, but Conor was out for dinner there during the week, and he spent $25,000, I think it was, on dinner. But like there was a bottle of red wine at the table.
Yeah,
And like he zooms in on the red wine. I wouldn't be a big red wine connoisseur. Like, to be honest, I'd rather 6 cans of Dutch down the back of a field, but or a 4-star stout. Obviously, what am I talking about? But John commented to him being like, "Geez, enjoy that bottle of red wine, man. That's a proper bottle." Okay.
yeah.
So John puts up an Instagram story yesterday, Instagram post saying he commented to Conor about the red wine, and then
He said to his hotel room.
Conor then sent the red wine to John's hotel room in Madison in New York. Suppose that bottle's worth $5,000.
Jesus, fair play. And he also sent a bit of room service while he was there, I think, as well. Like, I think it was more than the bottle of red wine that he got. But
I'm sure Sparkler's come with that bottle of red wine, but
Yeah.
rumor has it Nathan Kelly, ahead of his fight in PFL, has already necked the bottle of red wine, so John didn't get to enjoy it. But we'll ask Nate how did it taste, Ross.
yeah, he's going after that Polo Costa vibes. Drink the wine to cut the weight.
Oh man, he's a changed man. He goes to New York once, and all of a sudden he's a wine connoisseur.
Mr. MSG.
Shout out Nathan Kelly. But
Yeah.
no, that's crazy. We're talking about ballers here, Ross.
Yeah, that's big boy moves. Big boy moves. I love to see it. Love to see it.
Where'd that come from?
We were talking about the dinner.
Yeah, the dinner,
Yeah.
man. When are we getting invited to the Christmas party? For you forgetting
hope
the
so.
glasses, I don't know. We might just
Yeah, we'll be excommunicated.
yeah. Next year's Christmas party, though.
Yeah, next year's Christmas party will be there. McGregor Sports Entertainment. We're all over it.
We're all over it.
I was going to say, we got a bit of hype for the bantamweights with Cody Gibson and Bragatona going toe to toe in the kitchen in front of Michael Chandler as referee.
Yeah, that was okay. Brad being known as the diva in the house, I think it's actually sort of funny because he sort of just tends to do his own thing. Like
Yeah,
he knows what he's about.
Yeah, he seems like one of the least divish characters ever. I think he went into that house after doing TUF beforehand, knowing that he has to be quite selfish from time to time, and knowing that it's not a team sport. And people are like, oh, you're not on Team Chandler yet. But like Brackatona's done this and he's won the show. Like he knows what it takes to win the show, and like obviously mentally going in there, he was in a stronger place than everyone else. Hence why he's in the final, and other people are not, because he knew what it took to win TUF, and he's not only has done it once, he has the opportunity to do it again.
Yeah, but look, Roosevelt Roberts, he took the selfishness out and then didn't deliver. Jason Knight, sorry, excuse me, Jason Knight, another person who became too friendly and couldn't
deliver.
Couldn't deliver, man. And Bragatona, as you said, knows what he's doing, and I think the lads are actually a bit jealous of him, to be honest. Like, I mean, his team is Conor's team. Like, I mean, they're just trying to get into his head. But like, if any of those fighters' teammates were on the other team, they'd be like they'd be thinking the same thing. So,
yeah, I think a lot of them were like, "Oh, we're blessed to be here," which, like, in a large case, they are blessed to be here. But like, Brad Katona was more like, "I deserve to be here. I'm going to show why I deserve to be here." And I thought Cody Gibson going from, I actually thought it was quite weak. I thought it was very like, oh, everyone in this house, like every single person here doesn't like you. I thought it was like so childish. And then like Brad Katona, I thought handled it so well. It's like, we all hate you, Brad. And like Brad was like, I think some people here might like me. And then
that's what I was thinking. I was thinking people would like.
Yeah, I was like, I can't imagine like a mass hatred for Brad Katona. And then on top of that, also, I was like, hold on. I was like, where's Cody Gibson getting this from? Like, why is this the first time we've seen we all hate Brad? You know what I mean? Just not true. And then him being like, you're not a real fighter. You can't handle the toughness. And then Brad Katona was like, yeah, but I've already won this before. And you haven't. And also, I said I'd do it again. And you were like, oh, I could never do this again. And then I was like, Brad is
the
actually
sound bites, man. Like.
Yeah, Brad is actually schooling him here, because at the end of the day, there's nothing to show that Brad isn't tough, or like you can say, oh, maybe he's fought a certain style before, but like he just fought Timur there and like went toe to toe with him and beat him, and a lot of that was on the feet. So you can't say, like, telling someone who has 12 or 13 professional fights, who was a world champion in an organization, that they're afraid to fight is just absolutely pathetic, really, and like just obviously not true. He's clearly afraid of no one, Brad Katona. And let alone Cody Gibson.
Yeah, and he fought Marab before as well.
Yeah,
the man of the bantamweights.
Yeah, so I think that's just all a bit silly.
Yeah. Before we get into UFC 292, Ross, this weekend, I want to look back at last weekend's main event winner. Vicente Luque defeated Ordier by decision. And we put a poll out after, Ross. You ready for this? To see who do the people want to see Vicente Luque fight next. Is it either Jack Della Maddalena or Sean Brady? Ross, what did the people that voted on the Energized poll that you can vote on every week, make sure to check it out, what did they vote for? They would like to see.
Going to say Sean Brady.
I don't know if you're doing this right or wrong on purpose, bud. But that is wrong again, bro. 54% wanted Jack Della Maddalena to take on Vicente Luque next. What you make of that, man?
To be honest, and I've said this, Barry, I genuinely, like, I'll vote off the poll off my own personal Instagram, and then like I genuinely don't look at the results after that. So like I genuinely don't know who wins these polls. I said to Barry, don't go back and check, and like now it's become a thing. Like I make sure I don't go back and check. But I think both are good fights in their own right. But like I think Jack Della Maddalena is like such a cool style fight. Like I know he went to decision in his last fight, but that was like sort of short notice, and he had to like fight a week after already cutting the weight. But I think he just he bangs anyway. You know what I mean? Like, let Jack Maddalena bang, bro. And I think he's a very exciting fighter. I think he's obviously the more exciting fighter than Sean Brady. Sean Brady sort of wants to take it down to the ground. I think, in terms of ranking wise, I think the Sean Brady fight makes more sense. But like, if you're looking to get the fans excited, Jack Della Maddalena is going to be your go-to guy.
Yeah, I think people just like seeing guaranteed stand-up wars, and that would be something to look forward to. Ross, before we get into UFC 292, we were talking about Conor. He was over at the Anthony Joshua fight over the weekend as well. That was some crack, wasn't it?
Yeah, he came, he caused carnage, and he bounced. We love seeing it. Him feeding Anthony Joshua the Forge Irish style point was absolutely hilarious. It was like a horse trainer feeding a horse about to go do a race. It was brilliant crack. Obviously Conor got in there and then he called out KSI afterwards, which was bizarre in its own right. But look, he went over there, made an outrageous amount of headlines, and then left. You know what I mean? So job done on his behalf. Shout out to the whole Forge Irish Stout team. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a sponsor get so much traction and so much eyeballs on it in one go. They had everyone talking about it. They had Big John Bosch over there, and they had Food Review Club. You know, he was obviously a Forge Irish Stout ambassador over there. Even Eddie Hearn was singing the Stout's praises. They all love it. They all can't get enough of it, and obviously we love it too, Basmo.
If one of us go to war, we all go to war.
I was just surprised Conor didn't get a spoon out and then like scoops him out at the point and then put it into Joshua's mouth. That's the way I have it. It's like a yogurt.
Also, you actually said to me that it was after the ring announcer when he called out Forge Irish Stout, like he got himself extra hype for it. He was like, the creamiest stout in all the world. I was like,
surprised he didn't take his top off.
Yeah, I was like, this is outrageous. Carry on. Fair play to the team.
Forge Irish Stout taking over, baby. See you at the 2024 Christmas party.
Yeah.
Ross, UFC 292 is this weekend, right?
Unbelievable!
It is unbelievable, right? 10 years ago, Conor fought Max Holloway in the same arena, and then the event after that was in Dublin. UFC 292, there's obviously going to be a lot of token points on this show, but we should start at the very, 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 very top in the main event. Aljamain Sterling, the champion. People think he is potentially the greatest 135-pound UFC athlete ever. He's taking on Sugar Sean O'Malley. Ross, what do you make of this fight, and what way do you expect it going?
I suppose the storyline going into the fight is Aljamain Sterling is still looking for that notoriety and credibility for his achievements. Obviously, he's beat some of the best guys in the sport. He's beaten Henry Cejudo. He's beaten Petr Yan. He's beaten Corey Sandhagen. He is one of the elite of the elites. He is definitely in the debate for the greatest bantamweight in UFC history. He can, and especially with the likes of, you know, TJ Dillashaw popping for EPO, and obviously Aljamain Sterling beat him as well. You know, Cody Garbrandt, when he won the belt, he sort of fell off a bit. You know, Dominic Cruz has maybe sort of fall on past his peak, so therefore people's perception of him was probably lowered, especially some of the newer fans. So look, Aljamain Sterling seems to be a dominant champion at the moment. I know he won the belt in a bit of a unfashionable manner, but he's kept it ever since, and I think his game is so unique, and I think he definitely has that ability to go down in history as one of the best ever. I know he's sort of teasing also that like the weight cuts are getting a bit much for him and he might move up to featherweight. Him versus Volk would definitely be an exciting fight if that's what they want to do next. And I suppose on the other side, Sean O'Malley, he was this hype train. People were saying he was being mollycoddled by the UFC. He had that loss to Cheeto Vera, which like he sort of says doesn't count. And then like he's gone on, you know, he fought Pedro Munoz, and that one, I don't know, I can't even remember if that was given a no contest or Sean O'Malley won, but like he rolled his ankle really bad in that fight. But then, you know, he went out and beat Petr Yan, which some people still think Petr Yan won as well. So like Sean O'Malley has been like sort of marred in controversy in the octagon, but look, there's no doubt about it. He is an absolute unique talent. He's obviously long and rangy. He's got lots of power in his hands. And Sean O'Malley summed it up himself. He was like, my job is not to get grabbed, and Aljamain Sterling's job is to grab me. So obviously, you know, it gets a bit more complex than that, but like that's the ifs and buts of the game. Sean O'Malley wants to keep the fight on the feet, keep Aljamain Sterling at range, and Aljamain Sterling wants to grab Sean O'Malley and get his back and look for the finish. That's the tail of the tape for those two, and I can't wait to see it play out.
I love it.
Well done, man. That was great. I'm going to just look at the fighters a tiny bit more, okay?
Yeah, go for it.
Aljamain Sterling, people are saying he's potentially the greatest in the bantamweight division. The only other person, sorry, that can sort of hold a candle to his record is Dominic Cruz. This is brought up to Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley said, "Look, I think Sterling would definitely kick Dominic Cruz's ass." So then you're sort of looking at O'Malley. Like O'Malley's like you can tell he's a big fan of the fight game. He keeps his eye on the pulse of everything. And he's sort of like hyping up Sterling in this. He's not saying Sterling shit or hasn't got any game here, there, or everywhere. He's almost complimenting Sterling in the build up to this fight, which is it's a different sort of spin. Like, do you think he's trying to trick Sterling, confuse him? Well, what way do you see Sean O'Malley sort of spinning this fight?
Well, I think he's doing the right thing. I think he's doing what's necessary for his brand. So, like, he downplayed other opponents who he's fought, who he says are trash because he's on the way up. But as he gets towards the upper echelon, when he's fighting Piotr Yan, he was saying how great he was. But he was saying how great he was because he knew if he won, he got a title shot. Now he's fighting one of the best bantamweights in the history of the sport. And, of course, if he builds him up to be one of the best of all time, if he builds him up to be the greatest of all time, and then he beats him, then he puts himself in that spot. He puts himself down as one of the greatest of all time. I never think if you're the challenger, downplaying the champion is ever a good idea. You should build them up to be one of the best fighters of all time, because if you can go in there and get your hand raised, then you walk out as one of the best fighters of all time, and you've taken that scalp. There's no point downplaying someone, because then when you win, you can't really go back and go, no, they were actually great, I was only messing.
Yeah, it could be as well to like get more people to be more invested into Sean's opponent, because we know the audience Sean brings. He's like an honorary Nelk boy at this stage. If I had to call it now, like, I mean, you broke it down really, really well. So it's either Aljamain takes it back or Sean O'Malley like gets a knockout. I'm a massive fan of Sean. Majority of the time, I'm wrong at picking winners, but I mean, Aljamain Sterling, I think, he's riding a wave right now, like in his prime.
Yeah, he really, really is. I think Sean O'Malley, he can put anyone's lights out in this division. I think the longer the fight goes on, the more it favours Aljo as well. So, look, I probably agree with you. I think it's a big, tall ask for Sean O'Malley. But again, he is the type of character that can easily defy the odds.
Yeah. The place will blow up if Sean O'Malley wins. Just, I think he said he was like 68% Irish. Remember we had him on the show and we asked him, like, does he know anything about his Irish background? He said he has to get it done, but supposedly he's 60% Irish.
Well, we've seen him with the tricolour.
Yeah, he'll be walking in with the tricolour this weekend, bro. Don't get that wrong. Weili Zhang in the co-main event versus Amanda Lemos for the women's strawweight world title. Ross, what way do you see this one going down?
Yeah, well, look, I think Weili Zhang, when she lost the belt, it was a shock when Rose Namajunas beat her, and a lot of people would still say she is the best strawweight. And look, Lemos is she's got some great wins on her record. Like, obviously, she's beaten the likes of Angela Hill, and then in this current run, she has finishes over Michelle Waterson and Marina Rodriguez. And at the time, I'm pretty sure Marina Rodriguez was streaking. I'm pretty sure she had 4 or 5 wins on the trot leading into that one. So, like, I think it was more built that Rodriguez was going to be the number 1 contender, and then Lemos went and stole that crown, and she's now fighting Weili Zhang for that strawweight title. I think, obviously, maybe a little bit under the radar, probably due to neither woman speaking very good fluent English. But look, ever since Weili went back and finished Carla Esparza, took back her strawweight championship, she looks dominant. Like, she also finished on in J-Check last year as well. So, like, she obviously is the elite of the elite. The only slip up in her UFC career is Rose Namajunas. I favour Weili Zhang to get the finish here. I think she's definitely the better from what we've seen so far. But again, you never know what might happen. She's been knocked out and she's been submitted at Lemos. So, like, it's going to be very interesting to see. Can she hang in there with Weili Zhang? Because Weili Zhang, we've seen her. She's one tough cookie. She lights people on the feet. She's good on the ground. She can do it all.
Yeah, this is a great card for Wei Li Zhang to be on the card, featuring as well, because she's in between the main event and Ian Machado Gary taking on Neil Magny. I know we broke it down a lot last week, Ross, but like just this weekend, what you make of the hype that's been behind Ian in the build up to this fight? Like he's been on the mic saying he's selling this card. It's going to be a big weekend for Irish MMA.
Yeah, well, like he is one of the pillars of European MMA. He's definitely leading the charge for Irish MMA at the moment. Obviously, we've had Sean O'Bannon follow in. We've had Rhys McKee and Caelan Rockran are fighting in Paris in 2 weeks' time. Like, he's definitely, the creme de la creme at the moment. I think, he obviously was hyping up the Jeff Neal fight. He did the t-shirt thing. I thought it was funny. I'm not really against it. I think, his mugshot's on public record or whatever, and he's building some hype for the fight. I actually don't even know what he was arrested for, but I don't think it was anything too sinister. And then you obviously have him now fighting Neil Magny, and this is the fight that he called for in the first place. So I think let's go. I think with Ian Garry fighting this weekend and Brad Gatone fighting this weekend, I think it's one of the most sort of underrated weekends of the year in Irish MMA. Ian Garry has a chance to cement himself in the top 10 in the UFC welterweight division. I think he's probably the biggest character in the UFC welterweight division. Probably himself and Colby Covington.
And Conor.
Toe for that. If you want to include Conor, throw him in there too. But Ian Garry's making waves. He is one of the most talked about. He is must-see TV. And then also on that card, you have Brad Gatone trying to create history, trying to become tough champ. I'm dying to see this card. I think this card is going to be phenomenal. It's in the TD Garden in Boston. And like you said at the start, when Conor went to Boston and beat Max Holloway, he brought it back to Dublin to fight Diego Brandao. And let's see Ian Garry go beat Neil Magny in Boston and then bring it back to Dublin and maybe fight Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I'd be all over that.
Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the fuck up.
A few people on the card as well, Ross. Marlon Vera versus Pedro Munoz. Chris Weidman versus Brad Tavares. And as you said, there is the Ultimate Fighter finale fights, which we cannot wait to see.
Give us your predictions for those, Basmo. Who's being crowned tough champs?
I'm going to go with Kurt Holloway and Brad Gatone, man.
I actually think the same. I actually thought you were going to pick Austin Hubbard, but I'm actually sort of up for Kurt Holloway, especially after the Lee Hammond fight.
Yeah, that cooking as well. That's the key to my heart. Ross, I think that sort of wraps up 12 weeks of tough mania.
Yeah, look, the Ultimate Fighter, it was great to have it back on the screens. It was great to watch it. Really liked the way it was on UFC Fight Pass, just made it so easy to watch.
Yeah.
Great
Thanks to UFC Fight Pass for that as well, by the way. And Forge Irish Stout.
Yeah, Forge Irish Stout was all over this season. I feel like Forge Irish Stout is over every event in combat sports at the moment. We love to see it. It's great to see. Thanks for all the support on the show. I think we're going to continue to do Wednesday shows going forward. Who knows what sort of content we're going to be bringing, but keep your eyes peeled on the Instagram page. That's where that's the hub of all things Energized at the moment. Thanks a million. Like, share, subscribe, and as always, stay energized.
Energized show, up the Irish. Been sussing you guys a couple of times. I've seen a couple of clips. I think you done some interviews with Dylan Moran and that I saw. So keep going, keep up the good work, guys.